Ladies and gentlemen, this is our main event of the evening. Introducing first in the blue corner, from Hollywood, Florida, representing Fight Sports, the #1 ranked middleweight contender, Vagner Rocha!
Vagner Rocha, one of the most violent, grittiest, and just downright toughest grapplers on the planet. Back in action here at Who's Number One. We've seen him do his thing here more than once, and I think it's no secret of what to expect.
Yeah, this is the moment we've been waiting for all night long. It's been a great night at Who's Number One. Let's get to the main event.
And his opponent, making his way to the mat out of the red corner, representing Donahue Death Squad, standing 6'2", 205 pounds, the #1 pound-for-pound no-gi grappler in the world, King Gordon Ryan!
It's the look of a man who is absolutely confident in his position as the #1 no-gi grappler on the planet. Gordon Ryan, aka the King. Man, just looking hardly bothered at all by the fact that he has got a 30-minute match coming up. And what is this? Gordon has an envelope in his hands. Gordon has just placed an envelope on my table with the words "Open me after" written on it. What on earth could this be?
I believe that's his prediction. Gordon has a habit of calling his shot. That's the shot. We'll let you know how it unfolds here. We'll see very shortly.
Shake hands if you want it right now.
We are underway here at Who's Number One, the main event. 30-minute match between the pound-for-pound #1 grappler in the world, Gordon Ryan, and the challenger, Vagner Rocha. Ranked, of course, #1 in the 185-pound division, but weighing in just yesterday at over 200 pounds. And immediately look at that tie up the hand. That is the wrist lock that Vagner loves. We've seen him submit his opponents with this.
Yeah, Vagner has an amazing wrist lock from here where he interlaces his fingers, basically plays a game of mercy that somehow he always wins. It definitely is a psychological battle as well, as he's always putting some pain on his opponents.
You mentioned the psychological battle, and that was evident in yesterday's press conference when these two were sat across the table from each other. Words were exchanged, and Vagner, he seems to take umbrage with the fact that Gordon called him a bully in the past. You know, he owned it. He said, "I'm sorry if I acted out of turn. I'm sorry if my behavior was not so professional, but I'm coming for you."
Keep an eye on Vagner's left hand as he does almost a jab. That's a push-off, and he's very good at keeping range and also harassing his opponent. There it is right there. This jab, he'll use it throughout the match to maintain the distance, but also get into his opponent's head.
Yeah, he pops that chest, almost like a jab, right? He fires it out like a jab, pops the shoulder, pops the chest. It's a very jarring motion. It's a very high-impact motion. It's not necessarily a strike. It kind of is like a palm strike, but it's like a rangefinder, and it really upsets his opponents. But look at that. Gordon just sucking Vagner into this position here, kind of reminiscent of a loose single leg X, immediately with that ankle lock control.
We'll see Gordon start to transition, I believe, to attack the opposite leg here. But let's see what he has in store.
You know, we really see Vagner sweat from this position. He has excellent base. You know, we saw that in his most recent Who's #1 match against John Blank. But look at that. Gordon Ryan uses the ankle pick to come up on top now and immediately putting on that pressure. Going forward, this is where the weight advantage comes into play.
Yes, absolutely. And Vagner Rocha has only been swept once, I believe, last year in all of 2020. Gordon Ryan pulls it off in the first 3 minutes here. Just goes to show the skill that Gordon has. And now he's really putting the pressure on. He mentioned it in the pre-event interviews that he really wanted to put the hurt on Vagner, and that this may be a long, protracted affair. Let's see if he follows through in that promise.
He did say that he wanted to make it a miserable experience. He did say that he wanted to put Vagner into a precarious position and then keep him there and make him suffer. These are Gordon's words, of course. Vagner Rocha, no stranger to this kind of pressure, fighting out of Fight Sports in Miami, Florida, training with ADCC's absolute champion, Roberto Cyborg. You know that he's been here before, but you have to wonder, I mean, what kind of pressure is Gordon putting on here in this position? You know, you can see that Vagner is framing with his left leg and doing his best to try and kick out that supporting leg, but here's now a move around to the side, but Vagner going for this leg entanglement, and man, the leg work from Ryan here for a guy who is 217 pounds. The dexterity of the legs, just phenomenal, so technical.
Yeah, I mean, we saw some of that in Nicky Rod's match, but Gordon is Gordon Ryan. He's on a different level in most areas. But going back to what we saw earlier, just a moment, was some heavy pressure from top that Vagner Rocha actually likes to employ himself. Gordon was sort of giving that back to him, I think, with that float passing style that he does.
You know, I don't think either of them would particularly like to admit it, but stylistically, in terms of the jiu-jitsu techniques that they use,
they're not far off from one another.
Not far off from one another, that's correct. They have a very similar guard passing system. They have a very similar system of just crushing their opponents from top, cooking them, and then opening up attacks. They both love the rear naked choke. They both love the rear body triangle. They both love the rear mounted triangle as well. It's they actually have quite similar jiu-jitsu games. It's just, I would say that the energy in which they apply those techniques is very different.
Yes, Vagner being a little bit more aggressive, you could say. But at the moment, Gordon Ryan really dictating the pace here, weighing on Vagner. Vagner doing a great job of defending, never getting in too much trouble yet, but Gordon Ryan really putting the match where he wants it to be.
Gordon Ryan, of course, the #1 no-gi grappler in the world, a position that he conquered via multiple high-level medals and titles. Most recently, of course, won the 2019 ADCC World Championships, taking double gold, winning both the 99-kilogram division and the open weight. And since then has basically looked untouchable. And can you believe that Gordon Ryan is undefeated in his last 39 matches straight?
Yeah, Gordon Ryan just the man to beat, right? That's the question that I think everyone's trying to answer, is what will it take? Now, obviously, Felipe Pena is always in that conversation, but no one else really seems to have pulled it off.
That's why Vagner was one to step up. Vagner, and you have to respect his gameness as well. The Vagner was like, you know what? Yeah, I'll take that match tomorrow. That he feels that he has the techniques necessary to go up against Gordon Ryan. Of course, strategically, going head-to-head against somebody is one thing. Applying those under pressure in the competition arena is a very different matter. Now you can actually, I can hear them talking to each other.
There's chatter going on down there.
I heard Gordon say to Vagner, "You're sinking," and you know this pressure that he's putting on. It is the kind of pressure that will drown your opponent as he moves over into this mount, crossed angles underneath the body, a very difficult position to escape from. Yeah, how can he get his hips?
I don't know, but Wagner's chatting back to Gordon. I don't know what he's saying. I can't hear.
We can't hear without headphones on, but they're literally having a conversation mid-match. And, you know, Wagner's little psychological games, I think he's basically saying, you know what, screw you, dude. It's like, you might have the top position here, but what on earth are they saying to each other? I wish we'd get a mic on this. But this is very reminiscent of the match against Mateus Diniz, when Gordon Ryan had that top position against Mateus, ADCC champion Mateus Diniz, and he basically just cooked him in the mount. He kept in there for about 10 or 12 minutes. He just made Mateus suffer. He just watched that energy bar gonna drain. And then when he felt the moment was right, that's when he went for the kill.
Yeah, Gordon drops off here now to the rear mount. Body triangle locked in. Vagner really feeling pretty comfortable here. Arms extended out. Goes back, belly down. Gordon
got the squeeze and now got the half Nelson in play as well. There's a big turnover, as you can see there, managing to get Vagner from that tripod position and straight back onto the mat. That's not necessarily a submission attack. I mean, you know, you'll only catch low-level guys with that, but oof, that's a nasty one.
Yeah, that definitely does not feel pleasant.
Still got a smile.
Gordon Ryan in his corner, John Danaher, and his younger brother, Nicky Ryan. Nicky, of course, a standout grappler in his own right. And they're two of the principal members of the notorious Danaher Death Squad. Probably the best no-gi, or the best known no-gi grappling team in the world.
Really? You predicted that?
And look at this, they're talking to each other still.
Vagner saying that's what you predicted? That's what you predicted?
New tricks in the book.
Man, this is incredible that Vagner is in a bad position like this with the rear body triangle on, and he still has the wherewithal and the moxie to basically just talk shit to Gordon mid-match.
Wagner's got attacks from everywhere, even rear mount. But Gordon's patient, right? One of the things Gordon's been noted for throughout his entire career is not giving into any kind of mental games, playing into his strengths. And Gordon's not going to give away this position It's going to take as long as it will, but you know, Gordon's very happy where he is right now.
We just passed the 8-minute mark here in this 30-minute match. Can you believe that we're only 8 minutes into this match? That is a long time. And really, in this position, Gordon has the luxury of choice. He wants to give up position, he can. He wants to open up for a submission attack, he can. But unfortunately, all Vagner has, the only opportunity he has in this position is to survive, defend, and try to escape.
One thing Wagner's doing right now is he's being very patient. You don't see Wagner struggling all that much. He's playing safe, playing smart, and conserving his energy, knowing that this match still has 20+ minutes left. You know, he's not draining himself any more than he has to simply get through this. So I think that's a smart strategy, right? He's looking for Gordon to maybe overcommit, slide out of play, but that's a tough ask. So we see Gordon remove the hook now. Let's see what he's looking to change here.
Yeah, could he be going for an attack, or could he just be cycling through these positions? It's a big question mark, isn't it? That, you know, he made the prediction. He basically called his finish in his last match against Roberto Jimenez, posting that on Instagram just 10 minutes before his match. He said, "I am going to win by armbar."
I think he's got the arm trap. I can't see from where we are. Maybe we get to flip the camera here, but right now this is not a great spot for Vagner.
This time Gordon has made his prediction by writing something on a piece of paper and giving me an envelope with the words "Open me after" written on it. So not only is he confident that he will win this match, but he's confident enough that he's going to finish it by whatever method he has described and written on this piece of paper. I'm trying to look through it. I'm holding it up to the light. I can't quite see it. I have no idea what could be coming here.
We're going to get you back on camera after this, and you know, plays out that way.
Can you believe that Gordon Ryan, he has finished 17 of his last 20 matches? That is a phenomenal statistic. Just goes to show how dominant he's been in the no-gi arena.
Heavy crossface here from Gordon, making things very uncomfortable for Vagner. Switches now, maybe thinking about that. Gordon Nelson changes his mind. He's back. He's not. But he's just waiting on Vagner, excuse me.
Well, as we said, he has the luxury of choice. You know, in this position, even though it's not even, he has kind of a strange, a kind of a figure four body lock going on, but it's a mounted position as well. Wagner's body is turned off to the side, but still Gordon's able to drop a lot of pressure through his hips and through that rib cage. But he's got the absolute luxury of simply just, like he predicted, making it miserable. In the corner of Vagner Rocha is Roberto Cyborg, the Fight Sports founder, ADCC champion. And supporting him in the corner is Victor Doria. You can hear them advising Vagner basically on how to simply survive in this position without giving anything up. And it's very interesting to note the difference, because Gordon's corner don't have to say a word. Right now, he's so completely in control, there's absolutely nothing they need to say other than call the time and tell them how long he's got.
Yeah, all credit to Vagner here. He's definitely mentally in the game. He's just biding his time, you know, waiting to see what Gordon wants to do, or hoping to get an opening here. But he is not in a very offensive position, but he is definitely chatting to Gordon still.
Non-stop. I mean, this war of words began yesterday in the press conference. Actually, no, it began before that with our various interviews and on social media. I feel that Vagner has been relatively quiet on social media. He hasn't really said anything too provocative. He's been happy to save his words for when they met face to face. And by all accounts, it got pretty tense yesterday at that meeting, and some words were exchanged, and Vagner was not happy with Gordon's composure, with his choice of words. Vagner is, man, you can hear, I can't quite hear what he's saying, but Gordon is just constantly talking to Vagner and seems to just adding insult to injury.
I mean, maybe they're resolving things, right? There's some, maybe it's some things left unsaid. They're just working through it. Some people argue differently. These guys physically and verbally do it during the match.
I mean, Vagner has always talked to his, competitor, to his opponents. We've heard that. We've spoken to many of Wagner's past opponents, and it's funny because he will talk to them. He'll talk crap and get inside their heads. He's a master of psychological warfare. He'll talk to them and he'll say, yeah, nice one. I bet you can't do it again. I bet you can't take me down. He'll taunt them. He'll use his words as a weapon. But I feel like if anybody is immune to that, if anybody will find that, ineffective, just add fuel to the fire, it's Gordon Ryan. Right?
17 minutes to work.
17 minutes remaining in this match here, the main event of who's number one, and Gordon Ryan is just in complete control in this match and just going from side to side with that figure four body lock, a draining control position. And really, I gotta say, Chase, he's using it to cook Vagner, but we haven't really seen him attack for any kind of finish yet. He hasn't gone after the neck, he hasn't gone after an arm.
No, he's just been very patient here, kind of grinding away at Vagner's face, basically through various cross faces, doing a quarter or a half Nelson, putting various pain points in play here. But like you said, no real submission attacks from Gordon. He's simply grinding Vagner down to a pulp at the moment.
Grinding him down to a pulp. That is a very apt description of how this match is going. Going up again to that power half and looking to turn Vagner over. Vagner balancing on one knee, trying to retain his posture. Gordon just hanging all 217 pounds, directing the force through the back of Wagner's neck, and Vagner walking back into the center of the mat here. Now, a note on the rules that slams are not allowed in this position, not to escape or to try and injure your opponent. He cannot slam. He can try to escape and he can shake Gordon off, but he cannot forcefully return Gordon back to the mat in this position.
Vagner looking very comfortable carrying all of Gordon's weight. He's a strong man out there. Really doesn't seem to bother him one bit. And, you know, playing patient like he has, he's probably salvaged a lot of his cardio. He still looks fresh. And if you ever seen Vagner compete, he can go the full regulation no matter how long it is.
Broomstick takedown here for Gordon Ryan. He's got that one hook in. Got that rear body lock. Wagner's counter wrestling, we know how good that can be, but with all of Gordon's weight hanging on down through the side, once again they go back to the mat. One hook in. Can Vagner strip that hook and recover a decent position back up into this four-quarter position? And now the hooks are out. Beautiful, almost like a reverse Taitoshi takedown. But look at this, Vagner manages to get into a position back in the game. A little acknowledgement there, some good sportsmanship from the two. They're into this, looks like a 50-50 guard position. Not a great position if you want to hang out with a noted leg locker like Gordon Ryan. But this is significant that Vagner has finally been able to take that weight off his back and get into a position where he can breathe unimpeded.
Yeah, he really weathered the storm there. All the credit in the world to Vagner to getting out of those tight spots. And now this is, you know, a very equal position right now. Let's see what he can do with it. He's hunting for a
He is going for an inside heel hook. He's managed to get that heel off the mat. Doesn't quite manage to get the grip necessary to force the submission. Gordon gets his foot flat back on the mat and is looking to pry open those legs. But we know that Vagner has been developed in his leg lock game. In fact, so much so, he's become something of the leg lock guru at Fight Sports, actually teaching the rest of the team those kind of, let's call them the sort of the newer, up-to-date, modern no-gi attacks.
Yeah, Wagner's definitely a student of the game. He's been adding techniques his entire career. That's why he's had such longevity and why he's here competing tonight against the pound-for-pound #1 at the age of 38. And he's right here in the game. I mean, we're 17 minutes in almost, and he doesn't look a bit out of step. He's definitely behind on the scorecards, but he's all the way in it right now.
Gordon is
trying to move. A little bit of a bear trap here from Vagner.
Yeah, we have a bear trap here, and Gordon just seems absolutely unbothered. It's interesting that Gordon's actually choosing to move towards the upper body and to not address that trap leg. So confident is he in his ability to shut down those attacks. Trying to get onto his side and try to create that all-important heel exposure, but now Gordon taking that leg out, passes it across. This a much better position now for Gordon to launch a passing attack, and that's what he's doing. Gets the knee smashed over to the side. Pressure is on, going forward. Retracts his leg and back into a very similar passing position we saw earlier in the match that led to him getting that top control. Vagner with a half guard here, looking to bury his head, looking to wrestle up.
Oh, well done for Vagner. Get to his feet. Let's see if he gets out.
Stop. Neutral restart, and I think Vagner, he considers that a moral victory in that position. But let's be clear, there is still another 12.5 minutes to go in this match.
And now we get to see Vagner on top. I love this match. You know, we get a bit of everything, and let's see what Vagner has to offer from top. Obviously, he wants to show off some of his passing skills.
We only briefly saw Vagner on top earlier in this match. Gordon was able to use that very simple ankle pick sweep to come up on top. Not even really a jiu-jitsu technique as such, other than simply controlling his opponent and then just coming up on top. But here now, You'd think after all that time on bottom, you'd think that Vagner would want to avoid going to his back at all costs.
Hey, Vagner's not playing safe. He's playing to win, and he thinks he might have an advantage here. He's potentially looking to isolate a leg. Let's see what he can do with it. Obviously, that's a bold strategy against Gordon Ryan, but no one's unbeatable. You know, we're waiting for the moment to see what happens with Gordon, but right now he comes up, forcing the unfair 50-50 almost here. So really weighing the pressure on Vagner, gets out of that position. Now he's on top.
Yeah, and this is Gordon Ryan's wheelhouse. Look at that. Vagner Rocha trying to kick and make space, but Gordon Ryan counters the movement perfectly and settles down into this half guard. And this is a very reminiscent position of what we saw from Nick Rodriguez earlier in the match against Yuri Samois. That body lock control from top position. And we saw how effective Rodriguez was with that passing system. Let's see what Gordon Ryan does from here. Because Gordon Ryan has a very deceptive style of guard passing, right, Chase? The way that he's able to just very efficiently walk around or over his opponent's guard is really something special.
Yeah, I mean, he's been doing it for so long. I remember ADCC 2017, he really showed us on that passing, like in his match of Hamal Bahal, where everyone was worried about his leg locks in that tournament, and he's came out on top and really was vicious with his guillotines. Okay, we got a Kimura locked up here right now. Let's see if Gordon is trying to finish it. This is, of course, one of Wagner's favorite techniques.
Going high is Gordon Ryan. He passes his leg over the top. Look at this, got a triangle attack here. Slightly off the side, and there is the finish. Gordon Ryan with the submission. Vagner holds up his hands in a moment of prayer, but Gordon Ryan, the very decisive winner.
Ladies and gentlemen, your winner, King Gordon Ryan!
A stunning victory for the King. Gordon Ryan, pound for pound, #1 grappler in the world, remains atop of the ranking with a submission victory here at Who's Number One. The triangle came from top position, and it was a very quick tap. There was absolutely no escape whatsoever for Vagner Rocha. But look at this. I'm glad to see them sharing a moment here at the end of the match. Absolutely put to bed any tension or any bad feeling.
This is what you want to see. This is really what you want to see after a lead-up like that. That was a little bit intense. Resolution is a wonderful thing. Great showing from Gordon Ryan. And what a night. What a night at Who's Number One, Hal.
What a night indeed, Chase. A number of submissions so far in this match, in this event. And to cap it off, Gordon Ryan putting on a show and such a dominant display of jiu-jitsu, such a clinic in effective technique. I'm intrigued.
I want to see what's in the letter. I want to see what's in the note.
I want to know if this letter matches the submission we just saw in that match. Gordon Ryan wins by triangle in the main event against Vagner Rocha. Let's see. Gordon, you called it. I'm about to open this envelope right here. Let's see what it says.
A lot of people are going to be upset.
A lot of people were upset, you think?
They're going to be more upset now.
There it is, a triangle with the words, "Who's next?" and no less, signed Gordon Ryan. Gordon, the game plan was clear. It took you a while to get there, but it seems like that was the plan all along.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I don't really even try for the first half of a 30-minute match. I just kind of build to a peak and then get to submission somewhere in the last half most of the time. So it was fun.
It was fun. I mean, it didn't look fun from my perspective. I don't think Vagner said it was fun. But I don't know. I'm not sure what's in his head.
He was having fun for sure.
I mean, you guys were talking so much to each other. We couldn't really hear what was being said. Can you describe for us the exchange, the conversation that you had mid-match?
We were just talking shit back and forth to one another. All fun. I was talking shit to him, talking about him getting tired. He was talking shit to me about me just holding him there. So it was a fun exchange.
Now, let's be honest. There was a lot of tension leading into this match. There was some history between you two. You know, things got pretty chippy there in the press conference yesterday. Tell us right now. You seem to share a moment there at the end of the match. How are things now?
Things are fine. Things are always fun for me. You know, I like going back and forth, and Vagner is definitely a guy who's game to shit talk or to get into kind of aggressive antics on the mat. So it's all fun for me. I don't have anything against Vagner. I like Vagner. I like his whole team. So. Have to respect him. He came in at 38 years old, outweighed, and put it on the line. So that's more than the rest of these pussies will do. So I have to give him a hand for that.
Well, it's been no secret. We've had a hard time in finding new opponents. The list of people willing to share the mat with Gordon Ryan is very short indeed, and Vagner Rocha was one of the few who stepped up. But give me your thoughts on your performance. You said leading up to this match you wanted to make it miserable. You said leading up to this match you wanted to put Vagner in some very bad spots and make him suffer. How do you feel? Are you satisfied with the performance tonight?
I think it was pretty good. I mean, early on I kind of realized that he kind of shelled up and just kind of made it hard for me to do anything. He didn't want to move. He just wanted to not get submitted pretty much. So I took his back and I didn't finish him a few times, and I gave him half guard and let him stand up and create some movement, because that's what fans like to see. And then once it ran down to about 10 minutes or so, then I was like, all right, I'm going to finish him now. So.
A decisive victory and a clinical finish to end the action here at Who's Number One. Gordon, any final words before you get out of here?
No, just CVS and Walgreens have tissues for those of you crying out there, so stop by and get some of those.
There you have it. A lot of haters, a lot of people definitely upset. Gordon Ryan remains the undisputed king of no-gi grappling here at Who's Number One with a clinical submission indeed. And the submission, well, there you have it. A triangle finish